Welcome back to another Short Shifts episode. We got 10 minutes on the clock. We're taking a short shift here. Vex has no idea what the topic is going to be. I am Topher Scott. I am the leader on this magic carpet ride. Vex, my co-pilot, are you ready, my friend?
Yes, let's go. That was the best one yet. Let's go. Keep going.
Okay, I think we've talked about this on a previous episode, not a short shift, but I got an email from a coach last week that suggested this. So again, we take your suggestions. If you have some, let us know, DM us, email, whatever it may be. And they're talking about lopsided games. So when a game gets out of hand in youth hockey, what does a coach do? From the coach who is winning that lopsided game and then potentially the coach that's losing the lopsided game. She emailed me very unhappy with their team was losing and the other coach, she didn't agree with what that coach was doing as they were getting smoked. So wondering what your thoughts are. Lopsided games. Let's start with you're the coach whose team is winning. You know, they've stopped putting the score up on the scoreboard because it's, you know, they've stopped putting it up. There's been too many goals. It's too wide. You're that coach. Go.
All right. The first thing I'd do, I would call a timeout. I'd bring my team over. I'd pull up YouTube. I would search the Mighty Ducks numero uno. And then I would play Coach O'Reilly? No, whatever his coach in the first one's name was. It's not worth winning if you can't win big. I'm totally joking, Mama Bear. However, Mom who wrote that in. However, life is not fair. And I don't think that the players should stop trying. But I do think that once it gets up to, I don't know, above 7, institute rules. You've got to make 3 passes before a shot. Every shot you have to make 3 passes. If you miss a pass, you got to start 3 passes over. Like, let's start making some rules for the players, and also talk to them about dignity. And when you score now, you go back and line up. You don't have to come through the line every time, because I'm happy you're smoking this team. However, let's not take away their dignity. So, you know, create rules, but also, like, I think it's more embarrassing if a player gets a breakaway and you turn around. Then the game becomes like a sham, you know, like for me, I don't like that personally. What are your thoughts on that from the winning side?
Well, let me ask you, you talked about rules first. What would potentially some of those rules be? What would some of those standards be that you would give to the team?
Well, first, I would make everyone play a different position. Defense would be at all 6D are on forward. 6 guys are going back. The D might play forward the rest of the game, and then I'd switch the 2 lines of forwards with the other 2 lines of forward back on D. I'd make everybody play their offsides, all that type of stuff, and I want you trying and really try to like learn this new position. Let's use this as a chance to get better, and then from there, depending on the age and depending on how bad the other team is, 2 or 3 passes before every goal. Or, you know, maybe it might be something like the only guys who can shoot it unless it's a 2-on-1 or a breakaway are the D-men. So we got to get it in the zone. I want you to play down low, get it up top. Let's work on shooting from the point. D-men, you work on walking the line, getting your shot through. Everybody else work on tips, screens, battling around the net. Like, let's start to practice some things that are just going to make us better. And again, it all depends on how bad the team is. You could institute neutral zone rules. Okay, we have to rocking horse or hinge, whatever you call that, every single time there's a transition. And then maybe it's like we got to hinge twice or rocking horse twice. You know,
don't let Coach Naruto hear you say about.
Yeah, dude, I love hinging. I don't care what he says. I friggin' love hinges. Loved when the D would hinge and I'm the guy coming back, circling and gaining speed. Nobody stopping coming through the neutral zone. Get off me. What are your thoughts on being on the winning side?
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, I don't think there's anything better than creating some type of rules that makes it a little bit harder for you to score. And yeah, you did some good ones. You know, maybe you can only score off a one-timer. Yeah. Or you can only score on a backhand shot.
Yeah,
or,
I like that.
You know, like just like little things like that. You have to make a certain amount of passes. Changing positions. I love that. What you said too. I think that's really good. Again, I'll tell the story like I tell it a lot of times, but for people who may not have heard from before, like I had a coach in Bantams and Vex was on the losing side of this, but like I had a coach in Bantams. Our team was really good. We played an entire game, multiple actually entire games without a goalie. We played multiple games where we had 3 lines of forwards and 6D, and during the first period, one of those forward lines and one of those D pairs was up doing dry land while the other 2 lines played. And then in the second period, that line would come down, get their stuff on, and they would play, and another line would go up and do dry land. So we played games 5-on-4 where we were 4. So like just finding ways. Again, I don't know if you can get. This was 20 years ago. I don't know if you can get away with that nowadays. But yeah, I think just finding ways to make it a little bit more difficult to score by working on some things. And again, yeah, like I agree with you. Like if you're on a breakaway and you dump it in the corner, or,
because I
like
remember doing stuff like that. I remember being in a couple of those games where, we were the team that was up and I had already scored a bunch of goals and I get a breakaway and I was like, I don't want to score again. And I turned around once. I think I shot one literally into the corner. Like looking back, it's like, well, that would be more embarrassing if I was on the other team. I was trying not to embarrass them, but that is, and it's just stupid, so.
I will also say too, and I want to get to like the kind of team that's losing in a second here, but like this is what My Hockey Rankings was actually made for. Like My Hockey Rankings was made, and the person who runs the site and created it writes a letter every year because My Hockey Rankings has been bastardized so much where now it's like a power symbol and a power status.
It's all the kids that I train talk about. It's all
exactly,
they talk about.
For like where we rank, blah, blah, blah. My Hockey Rankings was created so you can find equal competition to play good games. Because when we were growing up, you didn't really know how good maybe some of the teams were that you were playing if they were from out of state or whatever. And you would have potential for some of these, games that were lopsided because the talent levels were just too big or too small. So like when we talk about like My Hockey Rankings was built so this doesn't happen. Like it wasn't built so you as a 45-year-old dad can brag about your kid being on the number 3 team in Illinois or the country or whatever.
Some of you are looking in the mirror and laughing at yourself right
like,
now.
oh crap, I just did that yesterday.
I did do that. Okay. First step is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah. So like literally like that's, and hopefully like My Hockey Rankings can help to like not have so many games like this, but obviously it's going to happen in tournaments or whatever it may be. So just letting you know that like that's what My Hockey Rankings was created for, was so teams could schedule games against teams that they would have good games against, not a status symbol. What about if you're like the team that's getting pumped? Like what are some things that you could potentially do as a coach to get your team through those kinds of games, because those are never fun?
Yeah,
what would you say?
Time out. Call the boys over, and it's more of a dignity thing. Guys, there's going to be times in your life where you're down and you keep getting kicked. All that I care about is that you get back up, because whether it's hockey, school, a relationship, your family, whatever it is, business later in life, you're going to have bad days. All right. What matters most is that you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you stay resilient and you continue to attack. You continue to find a way to get better, to work hard. Let's take something out of this, because if we waste the next 10 minutes, 12 minutes, however many minutes are on the clock, and don't try, and we're doing, we fold the tent, or we start to get crazy and take penalties, like that's not going to help you later in life. It's not going to help you now. Let's do this for each other, and let's go out there and work as hard as we can and do the best we can and learn from it and get better tomorrow.
I love that. Another thing you can do too is like taking in like 5-minute increments. Hey, let's just win. Like, okay, it's 8-0. Let's make it 8-1 in the next 5 minutes. Let's win the next 5 minutes. And then let's try to win the next 5 minutes after that, and just kind of try to like,
I like that.
Shorten it up. So, hey, we might have lost the game, but let's win this battle.
Yeah. Let's pretend. Let's get something out of this,
0-0.
guys. It's 0-0 for the next 5 minutes. Let's try to win this next 5 minutes. That's all we're thinking about. The rest of the time has not happened. I love that.
Also, I know we only got 30 seconds, but when you said timeout, for all the people that are our age, my mind instantly went to Saved by the Bell.
Oh, Zach Morris every time.
Timeout, and then
timeout.
Everybody just stands there.
Dude, love it. And think about how fun that was for them to act it out. They
Oh,
had
I'm
to
sure.
actually pause.
Yeah, they can't
5
laugh at
seconds.
anything.
Share the show.
Hey, love you guys. Share the show.